I am with Green Filing. Green Filing is one of the certified e-file service providers under the e-file Illinois system. We're going to talk more about that as we go through the webinar. Give you a brief overview of what we're going to cover today. What we're going to do is I'm just going to give you a really brief overview of what's going on in Illinois in terms of electronic filing. I want to point out some resources available to you. And then we're going to spend the bulk of our time actually showing you how to e-file using Green Filing as your e-filing service provider. So we'll show you how to set up an e-filing account, and then we'll do some e-filing demonstrations. We'll do a new case filing. We'll do a filing on an existing case. We'll show you how to file on what the court calls unindexed cases. So we kind of cover all the filing scenarios and show you some other features of the system as well. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. You can use the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel to post your question at any time. We will wait until the end of the hour to answer those questions, though, just to make sure that we get through the material that we need to today. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. What I'd like to do first is just kind of give you a brief overview of what's going on in Illinois in terms of electronic filing. You may or may not know that the Illinois Administrative Office of the Courts has contracted a company called Tyler Technologies to provide a statewide e-filing system. The nice thing about this is Tyler Technologies provides the court the software they need in order to receive and process your e-filings, and then allows you, the filer, to choose between multiple e-filing service providers. Green Filing obviously is one of those providers. So that system has been made available so far in 90 courts, including approximately 90 courts, including the appellate courts. So you, under the e-file Illinois system, you can choose any of the certified e-filing service providers and have access through that single interface into those 90 participating courts thus far. Some things to be aware of. E-filing has become mandatory under this system in the Supreme Court and the appellate courts as of January 1, 2017. And e-filing will become mandatory in the circuit courts who are participating in the e-file Illinois system beginning January 1, 2018. So the sooner you get started with e-filing, the better off you'll be as e-filing expands to all counties in the state of Illinois and becomes mandatory in all counties. I want to spend just a second pointing out a couple of resources to you on the eFileIllinoisCourts.gov website, and then also talk briefly about e-filing or the fees associated with e-filing. So I'm going to jump out of this PowerPoint here and open my web browser. And I've actually just gone to efile.illinoiscourts.gov. This is going to be your primary resource to kind of figure out what's going on in Illinois in terms of electronic filing. A lot of the information you see here is posted on our website as well, greenfiling.com, but this is kind of the official resource for that information. This is a website put together by the court's vendor, Tyler Technologies, to provide you, the filer, information about the e-file Illinois system. The things I want to specifically point out here, first off, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I want to make sure you're aware of this as a resource to you. First off, if you look at the section here talking about mandatory electronic filing, there's a link here that says order, excuse me, so Supreme Court mandatory electronic filing order for civil cases. I'm just going to scroll down here. I encourage everybody to read this entire order so that you're familiar with it. I just want to scroll down here to reiterate the two sections here. One, ordering e-filing in civil cases becoming mandatory in the Supreme Court and appellate courts on July 1, 2017. And then the second, or the third item in the order, e-filing shall become mandatory in the circuit courts effective January 1, 2018. So some very important dates. Again, we don't have time to go over this entire order in detail, but a good resource to you to become familiar with all the things related to e-filing. Also, there's been an update to that order with some additional information. You can find that under this link here. You can find some additional good resources about how the court has configured the e-filing system by looking at this trial court configuration standards, individual court user manuals, things like that. So all good information we don't have time to cover today, but these are resources available to you if you have questions about e-filing. The trial court configuration standards, for example, are the standards that the court has developed to make case types and document types consistent across all counties in the state of Illinois instead of each county kind of having different, calling case types different things or calling documents different things. So it makes it easier for the filer to know what they're filing. So good information here. Another good resource on this page is this link here at the top called Active Courts. This is where you're going to find out information about each specific court and whether e-filing has become available and whether it's on a permissive basis or a mandatory basis. They also have an indication here when you pay court filing fees, you have to pay with a credit card, and Amex, none of the courts currently accept Amex as a credit card. So if you're wondering if the county that you need to file in is available for e-filing, this is a good page to check out. It'll indicate permissive or mandatory. Obviously, January 1, 2018, these will all become mandatory. Last thing I want to point out is just this FAQs tab. Lots of good information on this page, so I encourage you to read through it all. But I want to quickly focus on the understanding fees section. First question is there a fee to use eFile Illinois? There isn't a fee to eFile per se unless your filing requires any court filing fees. So those are the fees you're all used to paying to, new case initiation fees, things like that. Obviously, those would need to be paid through the e-filing process. Then there are service provider fees. So Green Filing as a service provider offers value-added services, and so we charge a fee to use our system, which is just $1 per filing. So depending on the service provider you use, there may be a fee to use their system. With Green Filing, our fee is $1 per filing to utilize our system, the enhanced user interface, the additional features that we provide, and to take advantage of the 24/7 live support options. Then there is also a convenience fee. Anytime any sort of fee needs to be collected, that will be collected either with a credit card or an e-check. There are processing fees associated with those things, and basically the court is not willing to eat any of the processing fees. So what they do is they add about a 3% convenience fee on top of your total filing fee in order to cover those processing fees. If it's an e-check that you're using, then it's just a $1 flat fee. And we're going to go through the filing process and you'll kind of see how all the fees line up, and it's very clear what you need to pay. So just wanted to point out that information. This Odyssey eFile California website is a really good resource to you as you begin to e-file to kind of figure out what's going on throughout the state. So let me jump back to my PowerPoint here. All right, so with that brief overview of what's going on in Illinois in terms of electronic filing, I want to spend the rest of our time actually showing you how to e-file. So we're going to use Green Filing as our e-filing service provider. I'm going to quickly show you how to set up an account and make sure that it's configured in order to allow you to start filing. Then we'll do a brand new case filing demonstration. We'll do a new filing on an existing case. I'll quickly also show you how to e-file on an existing case that is what the court terms unindexed, and we'll talk more about what that means as we go through the filing process. Then I'm going to show you how to monitor your filing status, both through the application itself and through email notifications that are generated out of the system. And then we'll show you some other features of the system, user preferences, reporting features, things like that. Okay, so let's jump back out here, and I'm going to go back to my web browser. This time I'm going to start by just going to greenfiling.com/Illinois. This is our web page specific to our service in the state of Illinois. With Green Filing, we do serve other states, Indiana, Texas, California, Utah. So we have multiple pages on our website. You're going to want to focus on the Illinois webpage. I do encourage you to look over this page. You can learn all about the features that we provide. Scrolling down here, we do things like PDF conversion. I mentioned 24/7 support by live chat, by phone, by email, electronic service, case summary views. We're going to kind of see a lot of these things as we go through the demonstration. Our service fee is just $1 per filing submission. To take advantage of the enhanced user interface, the additional features, and the 24/7 support. There's some testimonials here, some frequently asked questions, things like that. So I encourage you to check this webpage out and kind of get the details. I will specifically mention that we believe we have the fastest, easiest single screen e-filing application available in the state of Illinois. And we do provide 24/7 support, which is really a big deal. Many of the other service providers do not. And we are proud to provide excellent customer service 24/7 by phone, by live chat, and by email. So at any time you can reach us. Our phone number is available right here in the middle of the screen. The live chat is always available in the lower right-hand corner of the application and of any page on our website. And you can always email us at support@greenfiling.com as well. The other thing that we're doing for the state of Illinois is we want to get people comfortable with e-filing before it goes mandatory, and encourage as many people as possible to participate in e-filing before it becomes mandatory. So we've decided to waive our service fee until February 1st, 2018. So even though e-filing is not, or basically this allows you to begin e-filing now, then e-filing will become mandatory in the circuit courts on January 1, 2018, but then we're allowing an additional month up to February 1, 2018. You can use our service. We won't be charging any service fee. And then after that, it's just $1 per filing submission. So really encouraging attorneys and filers in the state of Illinois to get started now, take advantage of the free service, and then you'll see how easy it is to do, and can continue on at just $1 per filing submission. So with that, if you're ready to get started with e-filing, to create an account, you're going to use the sign up button in the upper right of our website. It just takes 2 minutes to create an e-filing account. The sign up process is pretty self-explanatory, so I won't walk you through the whole thing, but essentially on the first page here, you're going to fill out your email address, make up a password and security question. You'll click continue. You'll land on the next screen where we're just going to collect your contact information, and then you'll submit your registration. Once you've submitted your registration, you're going to receive 2 emails. One comes from Green Filing. It's just a welcome email, kind of gives you some information on how to get started. The second email comes from the eFile Illinois system. That email has an account activation link in it. You'll click that link to activate your account, and then you'll be redirected to the login screen and you can get started. And like I said, that whole process literally just takes about 2 minutes. You can have your first document filed within 5 minutes. I will mention that account activation email, if for some reason that does not show up within a couple of minutes of registering, don't wait around for it. That probably means it got caught up in a spam filter or something like that. So reach out to us and we can help you manually get your account activated. All right, so once you're signed up, you're going to be redirected to the login screen, and I've just switched over here to our test system so that I can actually submit some real filings and not submit them to the live courts. But you'll be redirected to the login screen, which looks like this. I've actually already created an account. I created a law firm account where I've added a few attorneys and a few support staff users already. So under any account, you can add as many users as you would like, both attorney users and support staff users. There is such a thing as well as an individual or pro se account. On those accounts, it's just a single user account, but typically those are used by pro ses or self-represented litigants. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my account. And I'm actually logging in as a support staff user, so I can show you the information, show you the system from that perspective. So I'm like a paralegal or a legal secretary, something like that. Once I've logged in, I'm going to land on what we call our dashboard. The dashboard just provides, on the left-hand side here, some quick links or buttons to get started in different tasks. We have quick links to some help articles. We'll always post our system status as well on the dashboard. On the right-hand side, we just have some information about our account activity, and we'll talk more specifically about these things as we go through the system. Before I get started into any specific demonstration, let me just show you the overall layout of the application. So this area here that's currently the dashboard I'm kind of highlighting, this is considered the main content area of our site. So as you navigate around, this is where the content will change and where you'll be doing the bulk of your work. In the upper left, we have our main navigation. Currently, we're under the e-filing tab. So then down the left-hand side, we get things related to e-filing. So initiate a new case or file on an existing case. We also have quick links to cases that you've recently been working with. If you were to change the main navigation to settings, then you're going to get things related to your account settings on the left-hand side. If I go to reports, I get the different reports available. So pretty self-explanatory. We have main navigation at the top and then sub-navigation down the left-hand side. If I click on the support tab at the top here, this is going to take you to our support website. We have all kinds of help articles on this website about how to do things within the system. You can search through them using the search field at the top here. But then you can also contact us. You'll see our phone number is nice and easy to find here. Email address is easy to find as well. And then that live chat support is always available to you in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. If you close this tab, you're right back to the application. And again, I want to point out that live chat support always available in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. So you can be right in the middle of a filing. And if you have any questions at all, start up a chat and we can assist you with whatever questions you might have. All right, so now that we have the overall layout, let's go ahead and do a demonstration filing. The first demonstration I would like to do is how to file a brand new case in the Illinois courts. So if you notice here on the dashboard, there's a section that says start a new filing, and there's an initiate a new case button. So that's what we're going to use. But you'll also notice it says if you are new to the system, be sure to complete the following tasks. The first task is to set up a payment account. In order to e-file a brand new case, there's going to be court filing fees involved. So in order to pay those fees, we have to have a payment account set up. So if I were to try and initiate a new case and I didn't have one set up yet, the system would prompt me to set one up. So what happens is I land on our settings and payment settings screen and I get the dialog to add a payment account. So I'm going to select the option for court filing and service fees. I can give my payment account any nickname I want, and then I select the payment account type. There are 3 types of payment accounts available in Illinois: a credit card account, a waiver account, and an e-check account. Let me first start by talking about waiver payment accounts. Waiver payment accounts are what you would use if you're filing something and you believe you do not need to pay any court filing fees. So maybe you're a government entity who doesn't pay filing fees, or maybe you're representing a government entity or representing a client who's already been granted a waiver of court filing fees. In those instances, as you go through the filing process, you may be presented with fees that need to be paid, but what you would do is say, I'm going to use my waiver payment account to take care of those fees. So to do that, you need to create a waiver payment account. So we'll just select the payment account type of waiver, and then I recommend just giving it a nickname of waiver as well, and then you can click continue. You'll land on our payment settings screen and you'll see that you have a waiver payment account added. From this screen, you can add, edit, delete payment accounts. I have 2 waiver payment accounts now. I really only need one, so I'm going to click delete, remove one of those, and I'm good to go. Now you're likely going to also want to add either a credit card or an e-check payment account. So if we click the add a payment account link, sorry, let me try this from here. This is our test system, so sometimes we do see things that don't look quite right. But we're going to go ahead now and give it a nickname of, say, something like credit card, or you could call it like Wells Fargo credit card, whatever you want to call it. And then select the payment account type of credit card. And then we'll click continue. Now it's important to understand that when you're adding a credit card or an e-check payment account, you're actually not saving that information on the on green filing, you're saving it on the court's online payment gateway. So that's what this screen is trying to describe. Once you click continue here, you're now going to be interacting with the court's online payment gateway. Once you're there, you can go ahead and select credit card or e-check again, and then you get your standard credit card form that we're all used to filling out. We've probably done it a million times on the internet, so I won't bore you by doing that again, but you can see we have your standard credit card form here. We can click continue and add that credit card. Now if you were adding an e-check, then you can select the e-check option here. You see the process is exactly the same. There's just a couple of different fields that you have to complete. So rather than credit card number or expiration date, you're saying checking or savings, account number, routing number. So the process of adding a credit card or an e-check is exactly the same. Once you've completed the information, you'll land back on your payment settings screen and you'll see that that credit card has been added to your account. So now that we have a credit card added, we can return to our dashboard. And you'll notice the next step under here says add a filing attorney. Now, I'm logged in as a support staff user. In order for me to be able to file, I have to have an attorney available to me to file on behalf of. If you're logged in as an attorney, however, then obviously you can file on your own behalf, so this step may not be required. But in my situation, I can't initiate a new case until I have a filing attorney available to me. So the system will prompt me to add one. It's really easy to add one. You're just going to put in the attorney's bar ID, first name, and last name. This is actually all that's required in order to add an attorney into the system. That would allow the user to select them as the attorney they're filing on behalf of. Now you actually have the option as well to make this user to make this attorney a user of the system as well. To do that, you can just type in their email address and then check this box to make them a user. That would then allow them to log in on their own, file things on their own, look at cases, things like that. If you're making them a user, you can also make them a firm administrator. If you're making, if you've entered their email address, you can also make them a service contact. We'll talk more about service contacts as we go through the filing process, but essentially what a service contact is somebody that you can select during the filing process in order to generate an electronic service notification to them, or e-service. So we're going to show you what that looks like as we go through the filing process. From here, you'll just click Add Attorney. You'll land on our Manage Users screen, and you'll see that that attorney has been added into the system. So you can see on my account, I've actually added a few attorneys already. I have a few support staff users as well. From this screen, you can use the links over on the right here, Add Attorney, Add Support Staff, to add as many users as you would like to the system. All right. So with that, I should now be able to go ahead and click Initiate a New Case to start the new case filing process. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Initiate a New Case. This will land me on our new case filing screen. This screen is designed to be single screen that you just complete step by step, and then it will dynamically update to collect the information we need in order to submit your case. So when you're filing a brand new case, the first thing we need to know is what court do you want to file it in. So this is a list of all the courts currently available for e-filing. So you can select the one you want. If you start typing in here, so if I'm filing in Jefferson County, I can just start typing Jefferson, and then it will filter down that list to just show me that option. So I'll go ahead and select Jefferson County for this example. Then the next step is asking me to select a case type. So here's all the case types currently available in the system for Jefferson County. Again, if this were, say, a mental health case, you could start typing mental health and just filter it down to just those case types. If it were a law case or a civil case, you can just type law and filter it down to those case types. So for this example, I'll choose, how about contract money damages? And step 3 is where we're going to identify and upload the documents that we intend to file to start this case. So the first field we have to select is the document type field. This is going to be a list of the document types the court has made available to file on a brand new case. So most likely I'm going to be selecting complaint. That title will then default into the document description field. You can edit this field if you'd like, or you could just leave it as complaint. So if you need to give it a more specific title, you could do that. For this example, I'll just leave it as complaint. The next step will be to browse out to your computer and select the file you intend to submit to the court. So this is very much like attaching a document to an email. You're going to click Browse or Attach. You're going to navigate the file system on your computer to select the file you want and then upload it to your filing. A couple of things to point out here. One, the court does require that we submit to them your filing in a PDF format. So if you convert your documents to PDF and upload them to us as PDF, that's great. However, if you want to upload your Word or WordPerfect documents, we can convert them to PDF for you. The other thing to point out is in the state of Illinois, I believe they have a 25 megabyte file size limit. I may have that wrong. I'll double check on that. But 25 megabyte file size limit in order to upload any single document. So you want to be very aware of your file sizes. If they are, particularly if you're scanning. You don't want to scan in a way that's going to create extremely large file sizes. Black and white, no higher resolution than 300 dpi is plenty for scanning documents. So be aware of that as you're generating documents to e-file. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and select one of my Word documents here. So I have a Word document called Complaint. I'll go ahead and select that. And then I'm going to click Add and Upload. So at this point, we've kind of created a little line item here to show you the complaint you've just uploaded. And you'll notice here's a file name. I had uploaded a Word document, but the file extension on this document now says .pdf. That means that I've converted it to, or the system has converted it to PDF. You can actually click on this link and look over your document, make sure the formatting looks good, so on and so forth. So if everything looks good, you can just close that tab and you're right back to your filing. Now notice the fields to upload documents are still available. So if you have additional documents you need to upload, you can do this at this time. So let's say I had an exhibit to go along with my filing. I can select Attachment to Previous. That's what you'd use for an exhibit. And then I could say, this is Exhibit A. Browse out, select my exhibit, add and upload. And you can see there's other document types here as well. If you had a motion that you wanted to file along with this at the time of filing the case, you could do that as well. I'll select a motion, add and upload. So you can upload as many documents as you need to start out your case. So I'll just stop with those three. I'll move on to section 4. For each document that we've uploaded, we need to indicate a security level. So available for Jefferson County is confidential and non-confidential. So I'm just going to select non-confidential, meaning these are all public documents. And then you also have the opportunity to select any optional services that the court offers. So you'll see things in here like request certified copies or certified mailing fee. This is the test system, so I don't think the optional services configured in here are the same as in the live system. But I encourage you, anytime you e-file, to look through these optional services. Make sure there's not something in here that you need and you want to pay for. Because what you do, for example, there's a jury demand in here. If you're requesting a jury demand, then you would select that and then you can go ahead and pay that fee at the time of filing. So I'll just leave mine as none for this example, but encourage you to review optional services each time you file to make sure there's not something in there that you need. So I'm going to leave mine as none and move on to the next step, which is where I have to identify my new case parties. So for my new contract money damages case, this is going to require that I enter at least a plaintiff or petitioner and a defendant or respondent. So we've given you an opportunity here with 2 boxes indicating plaintiff and defendant. So we'll just go ahead and fill in this information. I can enter an individual or a business. For this example, I'll just make up a business name. Let's just call this Atlas Services, Inc. And then I'm going to go ahead and make up an address here. And then I can also choose the attorney representing this party. So this is a list of the attorneys in my firm, so I can go ahead and select the attorney that's representing this party. So now we have defendant. We can go and make something up here. And again, you could choose an attorney, but these are attorneys in your firm, so not likely the attorney in your firm is going to be representing the defendant as well, so you can just leave that blank. Now, if you had multiple plaintiffs or multiple defendants, you can add them at this time. You can just use this add party link. Let's say I add another defendant. So I can just come down here and select defendant and go ahead and add that defendant as well. If you don't know the address of a party, you can click this address unknown, and that removes those party address fields as a requirement. So you can continue to click add party as many times as you want to in order to add all the parties to your case. So with that, I'll stop there and move on to section 6. In section 6, all you have to do is indicate which party you're filing on behalf of. So most likely with a new complaint, I'm filing on behalf of the plaintiff or petitioner, so I'll go ahead and select them. Section 7, add and attach service contacts. In the state of Illinois, they have not enabled this feature on a new case filing. This is only available for existing case filing, so we'll go ahead and skip over this and we'll talk about it when we do our next filing demonstration on an existing court case. Section 8 is going to outline your filing fees. So we have a $146 case initiation fee, nothing specific to the complaint. We have nothing specific to the motion. Now, we've added in the green filing service provider fee of $1. Obviously, this will not be charged until February 1, 2018, so this would indicate 0 until that time. And then there's a court convenience fee. So because we do have a filing fee and because we're paying it with a credit card, the court has added a convenience fee, roughly 3% of your total filing fee, to cover the credit card processing fees. So that calculates at $588, total of $152.88. So then we select the payment account. If you have multiple credit cards or e-checks or whatever you want, you can select those from here. This is also where if you did not believe you owed this fee, you could indicate you want to use your waiver for the filing fees. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and choose my credit card and move on to section 9. This is where I need to select the attorney I'm filing for. Now remember, I'm logged in as a support staff user, so I have to indicate which attorney I'm filing for. So I'll go ahead and do that. You can type a memo to the court clerk. So any note you want to the court clerk. So if you need to tell them anything about why you did what you did on this filing for them to take into consideration as they review your filing, this is the place to do it. Only the court clerk will see this note. You can also type in your own internal client matter number, or maybe you call them a case number or a file number in your office. This accepts any string of text, so it could be a party name, client name, it could be digits and any sort of letter character. That's completely up to you. The nice thing about this is this client matter number will get tracked along with your filing. It will display on any receipts generated out of the system as a result of the filing. And it'll also display on any reports generated out of the system. So it's a good way to track filings against a particular client or file number. Finally, you can also input a courtesy copy email address. By doing this, what we're going to do is send a copy of this filing to any of the email addresses that you put in here. You can put in multiple email addresses separated by a comma. And then finally, we're going to check this box to verify everything I've done thus far is good to go and click Sign and File. So at this point, we're now packaging up all this information, the documents, the data. We're submitting them to the court. The court is going to acknowledge receipt. We'll be redirected to the filing status screen, and then you'll see your filing listed here as pending with the status of pending, meaning it's pending the clerk's review. And then it will have an envelope number assigned. The envelope number is important because this is assigned by the court's system. So you know that when you have an envelope number that the court has your filing. This is also the best number to use if you ever need to contact the court regarding the status of a filing. You can just give them this number and they can look it up very quickly. Now, as a result of this filing, there are several email notifications generated. So I want to spend just a minute or two showing you what some of those look like. So I'm going to go over here into my email and show you what a few of the emails that get generated look like. The first email that gets generated is going to be a confirmation email that comes back from the eFile Illinois system. And that'll look like this one here. It says filing submitted, and it'll say for case, but since this is a new case, it's just going to have the envelope number. So that's this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and click this email. And really this is just a confirmation email from the court, kind of provides some detail about your filing. gives you a reiteration of the fees that are due, also gives you a link to view the document that you had submitted. And you notice this coming from Green Filing as well. So this is your confirmation the court has received your filing. It also notice it says please allow 24 to 48 hours for the clerk's office processing. So that's the first email you would receive. The next email that goes out is that courtesy copy email. So when you submitted your filing and you included courtesy copy information in the filing, Green Filing generates this courtesy copy email. So this says courtesy copy and it gives the filing ID. If you open this up, this is just an email to whomever you've put in there as a recipient for a courtesy copy saying, hey, this attorney here just filed these documents in this court. Kind of gives you a little bit of information about the filing and actually attaches the document to the email as well. So really this is just a notification to whomever you put in there that this document was just submitted to the court. And then finally, the next email you're going to receive is an email indicating whether your document has been accepted or rejected. So once the court clerk reviews your filing and accepts it, you're going to see an email that looks like this one, filing ID accepted, and now you'll have a case number and case name assigned to your filing. That will show up in the subject. If I click on this email to open it, you're going to see status accepted. You'll see some good information in the content of the email. You'll see a link to the case number. You'll see the client matter number and a reiteration of the fees that were actually collected, or a confirmation of the fees that were collected. And then also attached to the email, you'll see a file stamped version of your document. So once you submit and the court accepts, the email is going to come back and you'll get your file stamped version of the document. So this acts as your conformed copy, so to speak. The body of the email provides this confirmation of the fees that were billed, and again, client matter number and payment account are available there. So this is probably a good version of sort of a one-off receipt for this particular filing. You could share this with bookkeeping staff, accounting staff to make sure that these fees get billed back to your client. The other thing that's available here is there are two links here. One is to a detailed version of this receipt. So if we click this, it's going to take you into your web browser and just give you a more detailed version of this. Basically includes all the information from your filing. You can download this as a PDF document. The other thing that's available is what we call a filing statement. This is more like an invoice or statement formatted version of the receipt. So if you just wanted to have something to print off and hand it over to a client to show them the costs, you could do that. So this is something that's just kind of formatted more like something you could print and hand off to a client. Again, you can download this as a PDF. So these are features of Green Filing as an EFSP that you won't see in other e-filing service providers. The other thing we do in our email is include a link to the case itself. That will open up the case within Green Filing, and then it allows you to see the basic case information, the party information, the service contacts that are attached to the case, and we'll talk more about those on our next filing example, and actually show you the recent e-filings that have occurred on the case. So this is what we call our case summary view, again unique to Green Filing as a service provider. By no means is it the official record of the court. You would still have to go to the court for that. But we can put together a nice picture of what the case looks like based on the information that we're seeing in the e-filing system. So this is available to you as a feature. You can click that link in the email. You can also access this screen using these recent case links on the left-hand side. So a nice way to kind of be able to track what's going on in the case. Finally, in the email, there's a link to the filing itself. If you click this link, this will open up that specific filing within the e-filing system. You'll notice in step 1, it now has a case number assigned. You can click that link to view the case. Next to each document that you filed, you're going to notice there's now a file stamped version link. So at any time you can log back into Green Filing, look up your filing, and get access to those file stamped versions. So if at some point in the future you didn't have your file stamped copy anymore and you needed to get to it, this is a nice easy way to do that. So a number of things available to you from the email receipt that you received. All right, so that's a brand new case filing. What I'd like to do now is show you how to file a new document on an existing court case. So to do that, we're just going to use this File on Existing Case button from the dashboard. There's also a tab on the left-hand side you can use. This will then direct us to our new filing screen for an existing court case. Now the nice thing about filing on an existing court case is we don't have to re-enter all the party information and things like that. Once we've e-filed the case or we've added it to green filing, all we have to do is in the first step here is select the case we want to file on. So for example, if I want to file in this case, I just go ahead and select it. Now if the case you want to file on does not exist in the e-filing system yet, or if you've not added it to your green filing account yet, that's what this add a case link is for. So it's an existing court case, you just need to add it to your green filing account. So what we're going to do is click add a case. This will then allow us to select the court that we want, that our case is in, and then type in a case number. So I'm just kind of making this stuff up here, but once you select your court and case number, you'll click add a case, and as long as the case number is correct, we'll be able to retrieve that case from the court and then display it to you on the screen so that you can continue on with your filing. Now if you don't know a case number, there's also a feature here called Advanced Case Search. So you can click on that. Again, you'll select your court, and then you can type in either an individual name or a business name and search by that. So if I want to put in a business here, I type in a search, I can click add and search. That will allow us to search that particular court for that case, bring it back, display it to you on the screen, or a list of cases, display those to you on the screen, and you simply select the one you want to file on. Now there is something called unindexed case filing. What that is, and we're going to do a demonstration of it in just a second here, is there are some courts that are not, their case management systems are not integrated with the e-filing system. So we may not be able to search that court and find that particular case. So there's a process then that would allow you to e-file on that case where you basically input some of the case data and submit it anyway. I'm going to show you what that looks like here in just a second. For this example, we're going to assume the case we're filing on exists within the e-filing system and we can move forward. So I'm going to go ahead this time and select a case I've already got added to my account. This will then get the latest information from the court and populate into step 1, and then we can move along with our filing. So this is a list of all the documents available for an existing case filing. So let's say I'm going to file a motion, so I'll select motion. Then I'm going to say it's a motion to continue in the document description. Then I'm going to browse out, select my motion, add and upload. And again, these fields are available. You can upload multiple documents in a single submission. So if you had another pleading that went along with this, maybe I have an affidavit. We'll call this an affidavit of service. Browse out, select my affidavit, whoops, add and upload. So as many documents as you need to file on this particular case, you can do in a single submission. I'll just stop with those two, move on to step 3. Again, select my security level. And again, encourage you to review the optional services available. You may or may not need them, but just to make sure, I encourage you to review them. For this example, I'll just leave them as none. If you're filing on an existing case, you can add new parties to the case. Probably not likely I'd do that when I'm filing a motion, but if you were filing like an amended complaint or amended petition, something like that where you're adding new plaintiffs, new defendants to the case, you can do that using this add party link. Just select the role and add that party's information. So just like we did on a new case initiation. If you don't need to do that, click the red X, that removes that party. Section 5, we're going to select the party we're filing on behalf of. So I'll select the plaintiff again. Section 6, add and attach service contacts. So we didn't get to do this on the new case filing, but this is available on existing case filings. This is where you're allowed to identify service contacts for you to be able to electronically serve them copies of your documents. So e-service. To add contacts for e-service is very easy. All you have to do is click add a service contact, and then you have a few options here. One is to add a service contact in your firm. If you just want to attach service contacts from your firm to this case, you can do that using the firm option. So let's say I want to add one of those, I'll go ahead and do that. The next thing you can do is add a brand new service contact. So if you want to go ahead and type the name of opposing counsel here, you can go ahead and do that and put in their email address. And then go ahead, you can even associate them to a specific party and then click add and attach contact. So you can add contacts from your firm or you can create new contacts. The other option you have is you can search a public service list. So in this state of Illinois, I'm not actually sure they're using a public service list right now. I believe they will in the future. That's why we got no results. But this hopefully will be an option to you in the future. Right now, I don't believe they're using it. But this would allow you to search all the service contacts that have been created in the state of Illinois and attach those if you didn't have the service contacts information. All right, so I'll just stop with those 3 service contacts. So what's going to happen now is when I submit this filing, an electronic service notification email is going to be generated and sent to these service contacts. This email is generated by the court system. It is tracked, so whether it's been sent is tracked and whether or not the documents have been opened is tracked. It is also in the content of the email going to indicate which other contacts were included. So any service contact is going to know who all else received a copy. So important to be aware of that. So we'll move on to section 7, filing fees. Basically no filing fees for my motion. That green filing service provider fee was added because, but again, that would be 0 until February 2018. If you have 0 filing fees, you can select a credit card. You can also use the waiver. Again, select your attorney. This defaulted to this attorney because that's the attorney I use to file on this case next time. It's also the lead attorney on this case in my firm. Again, I can type clerk memo. Client matter number defaulted because, again, that's what we used last time we filed on this case, so we assume it's going to be the same. If you need to change it, you can. Courtesy copy. Last time I filed on this case, I sent courtesy copy to this email address, so we assume you won't want to do the same. If not, you could remove it, or you can add additional email addresses here. One thing to note, courtesy copies are different than service contacts. Courtesy copies are generated by Green Filing System. They're not tracked. The documents or the content doesn't indicate who all else received a copy. Courtesy copies are really intended for just notifying somebody you filed something. So maybe it's somebody else in your firm, maybe it's your client. Service contacts are people you intend to serve. So parties on the case, opposing counsel, things like that. Finally, verify all is good and click sign and file. So at this point, again, we're packaging up all that data. Submitting to the court, we're going to see our filing is pending and an envelope number is assigned. Now all the same email notifications get generated as a result of this filing that we looked at earlier, so you can use those to monitor the filing status. You'll get that accepted or rejected email, but you can also use this filing status screen to review status as well. So at any time you can come to the filing status screen and kind of look at the status column of your filing. The other items on this screen, filing ID, this allows you to open the filing, date, time submitted, case number, you can click on that to open the case, envelope number we spoke about. Lead document, this is just the first document that was submitted in your filing. It's listed on this screen as a reference. The other documents we had uploaded were submitted on this filing as well. There's also a print link here if you want to get to the print version of this filing. If I go back to the dashboard, you'll notice on the right-hand side, there's some information about my account activity. I have 6 pending filings, 5 drafts, 0 rejected. You'll notice, whoops, didn't mean to click that. You'll notice these numbers are also over in here next to the filing status tab. So the 6 and the 5. If I were to click on the 6, it's just going to show me my pending filings. If I click on the 5, it's going to show me my draft filings. Draft filings, by the way, are just filings you started but never submitted to the court. So as you start to create filings, we create a draft out of it, and then you can always come back and open it back up and resubmit it if you have to leave and come back for any reason. There's also some predefined filters on the upper right here. You can select this filter filings box and then say show me all filings. There's a number of other filters here you can choose. And then from this screen, again, to monitor status, you just look for status, pending, accepted, rejected, whatever it may be. This icon here next to the status envelope icon, that indicates that there were service contacts attached to this filing. So service notification emails were generated to service contacts as a result of this filing. So I want to pop over into my email real quick and show you what one of those looks like. So that's going to look like this one here. See, it says notification of service for case number and case name. So this is the email that goes to the service contact. If they click this and open it up, they're going to get some basic information about your filing. I mentioned earlier that they're going to see all the service contacts that actually got a copy of this filing, and then they're going to get a link to actually view the document. So they can click this document, open it up, and see the documents that you've just filed. Now when they do that, depending on whether or not the clerk has reviewed and accepted the filing, it may or may not have a file stamp. So this is really just a timing issue. If the service contact opens the document prior to the court accepting the document, it won't have a file stamp. If they open the document after the clerk accepts the document, it will have a file stamp. So that's just a timing issue based on when the service contact opens the document. The fact that the service contact opened this document is tracked by the system as well. And you can actually see that information. If we go back to our filing status screen, and then let's see, I want to show, pull up one of these filings here. Let's refresh it. I'm not sure of a specific filing that may have this, but if you open any filing, let me just try one more. So we'll try this one here. Okay, here we go. So if you open any filing and you scroll down to the service contacts section, notice there's now a status column, and that status column will indicate whether or not that service contact has opened your document. So this service contact that's been sent to, this service contact actually opened it. So at any time you can review that and see that. So that information can be useful to you. Okay, now I mentioned there is this process of e-filing on an existing court case that the court calls an unindexed case. So let's say, real quickly, do an example of this. Let's say we're going to file on on an existing court case. So I click on File on Existing Case. The case is not added to my e-filing account yet, so I'm going to click on Add a Case. So, and let's say I don't know the case number either. So I'm going to go ahead and click on, I'm going to select my court, and then I'm going to search for the case. So we're just going to make up a name here, and we'll click Add or Search. Now, what happens is my search results came back with nothing. And so whether you know the case number or not, or you don't know the case number, you're typing in party information to try and find the case, if your search results come back with no cases found, that likely means that the case is not in the e-filing system yet. So what you can then do is on this screen, you select this button here that says File into Existing Non-Indexed Case. Basically, this allows you to continue with the filing process. It looks just like what we did previously, but it's going to ask you for information about the case. So you would type in what county it's in and type in the case number. And then from there, you continue on with the process. Once you submit this filing to the court will review to make sure this actually is an existing case. And then if they accept it, the case is now in the e-filing system, and you no longer have to go through that process to file on a non-indexed case. So kind of just going over that briefly, but I hope that makes sense. If it's a case that's in a court that's not completely integrated with the e-filing system, you may need to file it using this File on Unindexed Case method. All right. Just two more things I want to show you, and then I can answer any questions you may all have. The next thing I want to show you is I mentioned earlier that the service contact and the electronic service is tracked, and that can be useful to you. The other reason it can be useful to you is because there is an option within the system called Create Serve Only. So maybe you have some documents you need to serve on opposing counsel, but not file them with the court. You can actually do that through the system, and there's no cost to that. And then that allows you to track whether or not that person actually received your service, opened your documents or not. So you can do that by using this Create Serve Only feature on the left-hand side. Basically, this looks like exactly like the file on existing case process, except when you submit, you're not actually submitting to the court, you're just submitting for the purpose of service. So you're going to select your case. Notice the document type defaults to service only. Then you can give your documents whatever name you want. I'll call mine Discovery Documents. And then we'll browse out, select our documents, add and upload. So again, you can upload as many documents as you'd like to. I'll just do the one for now. We do have to indicate which party we represent. And then we're going to select all the service contacts we want to send it to. And again, you could add more service contacts at this time as well. You have a client matter number you can put in, verify all is good, sign and serve. So at this point, we're not submitting these documents to the court. We're simply submitting them to the e-filing system so that the e-filing system can generate electronic service notifications to those service contacts. That then allows you at any time, you can come and open, you'll notice the status says serve only. You can come and open that filing and then go down to the service contact section and check the status. So that's kind of a nice feature of the system. It's a kind of a bonus to actually e-filing with the court. The last thing I want to show you is, speaking of service, anytime you are selected as a service contact, you are going to receive an electronic service notification. What's nice is the court also provides green filing a copy of those notifications. And what we do is we actually log those copies onto your green filing account. We do that because we know even though the court is sending you those emails, that email can be unreliable. You may not see the email. It may get caught up in a spam filter, something like that. And we want to make sure that you're aware of any service notifications that have been generated to you. So we go ahead and log them onto your green filing account. That's what this 2 unread notifications is about here. You'll also notice on the left-hand side there's a notifications tab, the number 2 here. If we click on this, it's just going to take us to a screen that shows us any of the notifications that have been generated to us. So from here you can go ahead and open them up and get access to the documents. So a nice feature of the system as well, in case there's any issues with your email, you know that you can always log into green filing and make sure that you're aware of any service notifications that may have been sent to you. Okay, so I believe I've covered everything that I wanted to cover with you today in this webinar. So I want to take the last few minutes here to answer any questions you may have posted. And then if you have time to hang out for a few more minutes on the webinar, I do want to show you a few other features of the system. So let's check the questions panel here. And actually looks like no questions have been posted. So not sure if that's good or bad. Oops, looks like one was just posted. Let's see, how are the parties named in a probate estate where there is a contested proceeding? For example, a citation. I'm not exactly sure I'm following custom 100%, but you'll notice when we went through the new case filing process, you're going to name all the parties in the case. So the specific parties to your probate case that need to be named, you'll go ahead and do that. I can quickly just kind of pull up a probate. Oops, looks like my session time now. Let's log back in. I'll go ahead and pull up a specific probate case. So if I do initiate a new case, we'll select the county. Let's try Peoria. Let's see. So let's do a probate. How about, not sure what's a great example. We'll just do letters of administration. So notice for letters of administration, when we go down to the new parties section, all they require is a plaintiff, I guess. But you can always add new parties. If you have a decedent, you can add that in. you'll see all the party roles here for different people. If it's a disabled adult, what are some other examples? A trust or a trustee, things like that show up in your party roles. So here's trustee. The parties associated with probate cases would be identified here, and you can type in their information. So I hope that answers your question. If not, let me know. I can. Just so you're aware, we do provide e-filing service in multiple states, and I do the training across multiple states. So sometimes I can get the procedures for particular case types mixed up between states. So I try not to do that, but I apologize if I do. For the most part, they're very similar, but sometimes things are called different names or different, different cases are called different things, different party types are called different things. So we try to keep it all straight, but it can get confusing. All right, well, I don't see any other questions posted, so I would like to just show you a couple of other features of the system if you can hang out for just a few more minutes. If you do need to exit the webinar, feel free to do so. So we've spent all of our time under the e-filing tab. So on the left-hand, so we get all the options on the left-hand side related to e-filing. I want to show you, if you go to settings, this is where you can manage all of your account settings. So you see things like edit user, you can even update your, your name, contact number, email address, things like that. Change password. We've kind of went over the manage users and payment settings screen. So just wanted to show you how these are all accessible from the settings tab. The user preferences is something I encourage everybody to check out. One thing I want to point out specifically on this screen is that there are options here to control the email that gets generated to you. You may have noticed that quite a few emails get generated as a result of a single filing. And we actually recommend coming into these user preference settings, and for the eFile Illinois user preferences, turning off the filing accepted, rejected, and submitted emails. Then under the green filing preferences, turn on the status summary emails and the option to include file stamp documents attached to your email. Basically what this does is really minimize the number of emails you get as a result of a filing, but you're still going to get all the data you need from the green filing status summary email. So that's one thing we do recommend people do. The other thing I want to point out is the reports tab. We have several reports available from the system. The most common one used is this filing activity and fees report. If we change our date range here, I'm just going to expand it a little bit so I get a few more filings in it. You can run a report for any date range. Go ahead and click Run Report. This is going to show all my filings during that date range. You see it kind of has most of the data about each filing, case number, case name, who filed it, what date and time filed, what date and time accepted. It has the document type, but probably most importantly, the client matter number, if you included it with your filing, and then the fees associated with the filing. So you can use this report at any time to bill back fees, to track fees against a client and bill them back to them. You can download this report to Excel, and once you have it in Excel, you can filter it, format it, sort it in whatever way you want. Save it to your computer, share it with others in your firm, so on and so forth. So all reports are downloadable to both Excel and as PDF documents. Another report we have is similar. We call it filing activity per case. And again, I'll expand my date range here. And basically this is the same report, but what we do is we filter, we group the filings by case. So we can see for this case, here's all the filings submitted on that case, and then we can actually total or subtotal the fees that were paid on that case. So if you want to track fees in total paid against a specific case, it's a good way to do that. There's also a report called Client Matter Number Report. It's essentially the same thing, except we're going to group things by client. So for this client, there's these two filings. For this client, there's this filing. And then again, subtotals on the right-hand side. So if you want to generate a report for a specific client, show them all the filings and all the fees associated, you could do that. There's also what we call a filing fees report. This report is a little bit different in that it only shows you those filings that had court filing fees associated with them, and then it's going to group them by the payment account that you used to pay. So this is probably the best report to use if you're going to reconcile your filing fees against a credit card statement. So you can see for this particular MasterCard, here's all the fees that were paid, and that allows you to then reconcile against your credit card. And then finally, there's also what we call a case list report. This is just a list of all the cases on your green filing account. If you want to download them to Excel or print them out, you can do that as well. All right. So again, just a few other features of the system. There's lots of little things built into the system that you won't see in some of the other e-filing service providers. We could spend all day trying to point all of those things out. But I think what you'll find with green filing, and it's just very fast and very easy to use. You'll always get the support you need 24/7 by email, by phone, and by live chat. But with that, that's all I have to share with you today. I'm happy to answer any other questions. I want to remind you that we are providing free service on green filing until February 1st, 2018. So of course, any court filing fees will still apply, but we will be waiving our service fees. And then after that, it's a simple $1 per filing submission. So feel free to take advantage of that at any time and share this information with your colleagues. I'm happy to answer any other questions that you may have. So I'll hang out here for a few minutes in case anybody has any other questions. But other than that, that concludes the webinar. So I want to thank you all for attending. I want to encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions at all. We're happy to help in whatever way we can. Thanks so much. Have a great day. And like I said, I'll hang out here for a couple minutes just in case anybody has any additional questions.